Welcome back to the Britannia Coin Company. We're a coin dealer based in Royal Wootton Bassett in the UK. We're so used to just seeing one person on our coins, whether it be the reigning monarch or a person that's being commemorated on coins, but recently we featured a couple of coins which have pictured two different people on the same coin. This got me wondering whether I could find any more examples, and there are some really well-known names. So let's have a look at some of these coins. We start with Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. This £5 crown was released in 1997 to mark their golden wedding anniversary, 50 years of marriage. This is the obverse of the coin, designed by Philip Nathan. You'll recognise him from the designs of many of the Britannia coins, which we delved into in their own video previously. The obverse features the couple, and to their left it translates as Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith, and on their right it translates as Prince Philip. If we look at the reverse, which is the work of Leslie Durbin, who also designed a number of old round pounds, the Queen Mother's 90th birthday £5 crown, and the single metal Bank of England £2 coin, just to name a few. This design features to the left the royal arms, which is used to represent the Queen in her role as head of state of the UK. The design may look familiar to you, as in 2008 the designs on the definitive or non-commemorative 1p through to the 50p became parts of the royal arms, which you can put together to create this overall design. To the right you can see the coat of arms of Prince Philip. Usually the coat of arms of a consort of the sovereign is the royal coat of arms impaled with their own personal arms, or that of a father if entitled to a coat of arms themselves. Impalement simply means that the royal coat of arms features on the left as we look at it, and the personal arms of the consort to the right. This is different from male consorts though, because the husband of a queen is not entitled to use the royal arms, and therefore Prince Philip was granted his own. Just to make this even more confusing, Prince Albert, consort of Queen Victoria, did use the royal arms in his own coat of arms. Why does the monarchy need to be so complicated at times? Prince Philip's coat of arms though, as you can see, features in the top left 3 lions and hearts. When in colour, the lions are blue on a yellow background and the hearts are red, which is a nod to his Danish royal connections. The top right is a cross, which again in colour, the cross is white and the background blue, again representing his links this time to the Greek royal family. The bottom left features 5 stripes, which are, when in colour, white and black, alternating. This represents the house of Mountbatten, which was Prince Philip's maternal family. Finally, to the bottom right you can see Edinburgh Castle, symbolising his title as the Duke of Edinburgh. The coat of arms was bestowed to him by his father-in-law, King George VI, in 1951, at which time his wife was not queen, so he used his own arms impaled with the arms of the then Princess Elizabeth, until she ascended to the throne and his own was used independently. The coin also features the St Edward's crown to the top, which we've covered in depth in our videos about the different and valuable crowns you can find on coins. There is also an anchor separating the two coat of arms. Now this is a silver-proof version of the coin, of which over 33,000 were minted, alongside just over 1.7 million cupro-nickel versions, which were only collectible commemoratives too, not being intended for use in circulation. 35 years later, to mark their diamond wedding anniversary, Prince Philip returns to duet on another portrait. In 2007, this £5 crown coin was issued to mark the Queen's diamond wedding anniversary to Prince Philip. On the obverse we again see a joint portrait of the couple, which was designed by Ian Rank Broadley, who was also behind the design of the Queen's 4th portrait on coins. It is a similar depiction as previously, although either Prince Philip has shrunk a bit, or more likely they have been positioned at much more similar heights. Given that the Queen has to sign off on designs, and Prince Philip was also on the Royal Mint Advisory Committee, they must have been happy with it. Now that's quite a bit of pressure on a designer who has created a portrait of the two of them. The reverse is a beautiful design and depicts the rose window at Westminster Abbey, the venue for their marriage 60 years prior. This was designed by Emma Noble, a name that is probably familiar given that between 2016 and 2021 she designed all the Beatrix Potter 50p's. The Queen and Prince Philip were married for 73 years in total, having been wed on the 20th of November 1947 at Westminster Abbey. The couple first met in 1934 at the wedding of his cousin and her uncle. They would meet a number of times in the following years, and it was said that by the age of 13, the future Queen had fallen in love with the man who would become her husband. Philip was given permission to propose to Princess Elizabeth by her father, the King, and they were secretly engaged in 1946. The engagement was to be kept a secret until after her 21st birthday the following year, and an official announcement was made on the 9th of July 1947. After a trip to the now Prince's uncle, Earl Mountbatten, they spent the rest of their honeymoon in Balmoral, still a favourite holiday destination for the Queen. They spent much of their early married life in Malta, where Prince Philip was stationed. It is said that she loved living there, being able to live a life that was as close to a normal naval officer's wife that a future queen could do. The ill health and then death of her father elevated her to queen by 1952, ending their time in Malta, but they would return there on a number of occasions, from wedding anniversaries to a wedding itself. This 1981 25p crown features the dual portraits of Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer. It was produced to mark their wedding and was designed by Nathan Phillips, whose work we've already looked at in this video. We see the couple looking left, which is interesting given that when Prince Charles becomes king, if he keeps to the tradition of looking the other way from the previous monarch, he will look this way on his coinage. They were married on the 29th of July 1981 at St Paul's Cathedral. They first met in 1977 but wouldn't become involved until 1980 when she attended a polo match that he was playing in, after which he invited her yachting. Soon after, she was introduced to the royal family at Balmoral, where she was pleasantly received, and within only 6 months of meeting they were engaged. They began their honeymoon as Prince Charles's parents did, with a trip to Broadlands, before flying to Gibraltar for a Mediterranean cruise aboard the royal yacht Britannia. The couple were separated in 1992, a year the Queen would refer to as her annus horribilis, with the breakdown of 2 more of her children's marriages and a devastating fire at Windsor Castle. Of this silver proof, there were just over 200,000 minted, with over 26 million Cooper nickel versions too. We're going to go back a fair bit into history now. This coin, minted between 1554 and 1558, is a hammered silver shilling. We again see 2 portraits on the coin, who are Queen Mary and her husband Prince Philip of Spain. Mary had become queen in 1553 after the death of her brother King Edward VI, although he had appointed his cousin Lady Jane Grey as his successor before Mary had her deposed and later beheaded. She and Philip married in 1554, having turned her attention to producing an heir rather than have the crown passed to another child of King Henry VIII. Although she had a number of suitors, her cousin King Charles I of Spain, or Charles V, the Holy Roman Emperor, just like King James I or VI, he had a few titles and numbers. Either way, Charles recommended that she marry his son Prince Philip. The British Parliament was none too keen on this arrangement, much preferring that she would marry an Englishman, but they were unsuccessful in their petitioning against it. They did, however, limit Philip's powers, and although the Parliament would be called in both their names, and the crown would pass to their heirs, if they had no children, the crown would go to her younger half-sister Elizabeth and not to her husband Philip. Although at one point it seemed that the Queen was pregnant, with plans put in place by the government for her husband to reign as regent in the event of her death in childbirth, the couple didn't have an heir, and instead the crown passed to Elizabeth when Queen Mary died in 1558. This short period of time, coupled with the fact that they both only appear together on shillings and sixpences, makes their dual portrait harder to come by. This coin is also in very good condition, with much of the detail of the portrait and garments surviving, making it a rather valuable coin. Next up, another old coin featuring dual portraits. This is a 1694 halfpenny and features Queen Mary II and King William III of England, or II of Scotland, but he's commonly referred to as William of Orange. They are the only example of co-reigning monarchs who had equal powers, unlike Mary and Philip, who we previously looked at. They became monarchs in 1689 following the Glorious Revolution, where several nobles invited them to invade to depose the highly unpopular King James II of England, or 7th of Scotland. These dual-numbered monarchs can be really quite confusing. Mary was herself the daughter of the king that she and her husband were to depose, but unlike King Philip, William would not agree to the same terms with a view to the succession of the crown. He had invaded with an army at the request of the nobility, and so used this to force Parliament to accept him with equal standings as his wife. Again, the two only featured on the coins together for 5 years, before Mary's death and removal from the portrait of coinage. Couple that with the fact that this period of time is unique in British history, in having co-reigning monarchs, results in the coinage of this couple being highly sought after by numismatists. Let's hop back to some more modern times. We're going to fast forward to 2011 to mark the occasion of the wedding of Prince William and Catherine Middleton. The coin was designed by Mark Richards, who also designed a number of other £5 coins. We see the couple either side of the coin looking at each other with their names and the date of their wedding around. The couple had met in 2001 while studying at the University of St Andrews and began dating 2 years later. In 2010 their engagement was announced and they would be married the following year at Westminster Abbey. The engagement ring Prince William proposed with was the same one his father had given his mother, Princess Diana, when they were engaged. The couple has had 3 children, who have also had coins released to mark their births and significant birthdays. If you want to know more about them, then check out our previous video looking at this year's Prince William's 40th birthday £5 coin. This coin was the first time that second in line to the throne, Prince William, featured on our coins, and remains one of only 2 that bear his image. There were just over 26,000 silver-proof versions of this coin minted. Prince William's brother too, Prince Harry, gives us another dual portrait. Again marking a marriage, this was released in 2018 when the Prince and Meghan Markle tied the knot. The coin was designed by Jodie Clark, whom coin collectors will be familiar with having designed the Queen's 5th portrait, which is minted onto currently circulating coins. You can see their names and date of their wedding around the coin, along with images of the two as well. Their engagement was announced in 2017 with a bespoke engagement ring having been created, with 2 diamonds from his mother's jewellery collection being incorporated. As Prince Harry was 5th in line to the throne at the time of his engagement, the Queen had to approve their marriage, given that the first 6 people in the line of succession require the consent of the sovereign to marry. They married at St George's Chapel, and the couple have had 2 children. Although in recent years they have stepped down as active royals, they have made appearances, recently at the Platinum Jubilee celebrations, and Prince Harry remains patron of the Invictus Games, an international sporting event for wounded, injured and sick servicemen and women. This coin was also the Royal Mint Experience's Strike Your Own for the weekend of their wedding. It's also the lowest minted Strike Your Own, which leads to a high price tag for those looking to add it to their collection. Of this silver-proof version though, 16,000 were minted for collectors. Before we end off, I've got a couple of other coins from another country to look at. I know it's hot here in the UK at the moment, but if we travel to Spain, I'd like to show you this coin. It is a 1988 500 Peseta coin. The reverse features the coat of arms of Spain, and if you look above the 5 in the denomination, you can see a crowned letter M. This is the mint mark for the Royal Mint of Spain, located in Madrid. On the obverse, it's another double portrait. This features King Juan Carlos and his wife Queen Sofia, who celebrated their silver wedding anniversary the year that this coin was produced. King Juan Carlos reigned from 1975 until 2014, when he abdicated, referencing his choice as not wanting his son to be waiting like Prince Charles to a royal official. It was announced as a personal choice, but the king had been impacted by a number of other scandals as well. He became King of Spain after the death of the dictator General Franco, and he was expected to continue Franco's legacy, having been selected and groomed by the dictator, but instead began to institute reforms and the dismantling of the former regime, and transitioned the country towards a democracy. With the country now a democracy, there were thoughts that soon the monarchy would be once again abolished. But there was a coup in 1981, an attempt to bring back Francoism, with those perpetrating it claiming to be doing it in the name of the king. In a public address, the king denied this, throwing his support behind the democratically elected government, which ended up being a key factor in the failing of the coup, but also endeared the king in the hearts of those across the political spectrum and potentially saving the monarchy in the process. This second coin, also Spanish, was released in 1991. It is a joint portrait, but the eagle-eyed will notice this is not king or queen, or prince and princess, rather king and crown prince. The second portrait is the man who would become King Philippe VI of Spain, son of King Juan Carlos. Much like his father, King Philippe had been a progressive monarch, in 2014 becoming the first Spanish king to receive and recognize LGBT organizations to his palace. He altered protocol, enabling the country's statespeople to take the oath of office without a Bible and crucifix. In 2022, he made his personal assets public to allow for more transparency. His release of financial details also noted that he'd paid tax on all his financial earnings too. Given that his parents are still alive, and more to that, he'd also renounced his inheritance from his father. Given the financial scandals surrounding the wealth, it leaves King Philippe as one of the poorest monarchs in the world. Not that we have to worry about him though. I'm sure he's doing fine. Well, there we go, a wide variety of coins which feature a double portrait. Not something we're used to seeing, which really makes that stand out. In addition to that, the fact that some of the people in the double portraits are quite notable people as well. And it was fascinating to have a look at some world coins as well. Let me know in the comments which was your favourite. If your favourite double portraited coin hasn't featured in this video, then let me know, there were plenty to choose from. As ever, there are links down in the description if you'd like to have a look at some of the coins that are featured in this video or related products. Be sure as well to hit that subscribe button. It's free to do and means you won't miss any of our future uploads, and as the channel continues growing, once we hit 4,000 subscribers we'll be doing another giveaway. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where you'll see us post lots of pictures of our coins. We've got our Twitter and TikTok, our shop and online store, but I'll see you next time for more amazing coins from the Britannia Coin Company.